Every money-saving article you have ever read, every leaflet that drops through your letterbox, every well-meaning relative at Christmas tells you the same reassuring thing. If you are owed something, someone will tell you. The council will let you know. The DWP will sort it out. HMRC will send a letter. And on the surface that sounds fair enough because you have paid in your whole working life, and you assume the system keeps its side of the bargain. But the entire thing is built on one quiet certainty. It is built on the fact that you will not ask. And if you do not ask, nobody comes knocking. Here is the figure that should make you sit up. In the financial year 2025 to 2026, an estimated £24.1 billion in benefits and bill support will go completely unclaimed across Great Britain. That is not a typo, and it is not a rounding error. £24 billion, spread across the roughly 7 million households missing out, that works out at an average of £3,428 for every single one of them, every year. Money that is sitting there with their name on it, that they will never see, simply because nobody told them it was theirs. That figure comes from Policy in Practice, an independent social policy firm that has tracked this exact number for 3 years running, and I am going to walk you through precisely where every pound of it hides, and how much of it you can still claw back. And here is the part that should really needle you. Some of this money arrives weekly, the moment you claim. Some of it comes as a single backdated lump sum for the years you have already missed, and some of it, once the window closes, is gone forever, never rolled over, never saved for you, just quietly kept. Nobody warned you about any of it, not the council that bills you, not HMRC, who somehow always find you when you owe them, not the Department for Work and Pensions. The man who runs the Policy and Practice study, Devon Galani, put it plainly. This is not a failure of the public. It is a failure of a system that is too complex, too fragmented, and too passive to get help to the people it belongs to. Now, quickly, because it matters. I'm not a financial advisor, a benefits advisor, or an accountant. Nothing in this video is personal financial advice. These are educational examples based on the public rules and the confirmed 2026 to 2027 rates, and your own situation will have its own quirks. Always check the official gov.uk pages, or speak to a free independent advisor like Citizens Advice or Age UK before you act. That is the honest bit out of the way. My name is Jack, and this channel is for one particular group of people. It is for the ones who did everything right, who worked, paid their tax and their national insurance, raised families, kept their heads down, owned their homes or rent them and never scrounged a penny in their lives. You were promised a system that would look after you, and what you actually got was a maze with the signs taken down. I am here to hand you the map they never gave you, the real version, not the sanitized one. So subscribe, because next week I'm breaking down the council tax scandal hiding in plain sight. The reason as many as 1 in 3 homes may be sitting in the wrong band, paying hundreds too much every year, and the single free letter that can get it corrected and backdated. It will change how you look at your own bill. But first, before we start, do me one favour. Drop one word in the comments. Are you retired, still working, or caring for someone? Just the one word. I read every single comment on this channel, and it tells me who I am actually talking to. Now, let me make this real, because numbers on their own slide straight off. Meet Margaret and Ron. Margaret is 68. Ron is 71, and they live in a modest terraced house in the Midlands that they finished paying off a decade ago. Ron has Parkinson's and needs help through the day, and increasingly through the night too. Margaret does that caring herself on top of running the house, because that is what you do. They live on their 2 state pensions and a small works pension of Ron's. Call it a little over the line, where they have always assumed they are too well off to claim anything. They have never been in debt. They have never asked the state for a thing beyond the pension they paid in for. When their daughter once gently suggested they check what they were entitled to, Margaret bristled at the word entitled, because in her head that word belonged to somebody else. They did nothing extravagant, they just lived their lives, and they are right now leaving thousands of pounds on the table. Let me show you exactly how, one claim at a time. Number 1, pension credit, the gateway they hope you walk straight past. Here is how it works. Pension credit tops up the weekly income of anyone over state pension age on a low income. In 2026 to 2027, it lifts a single person up to £238 a week and a couple up to £363.25 a week. That alone is worth having. But pension credit's real power is that it is a key. Claim even a single pound of it and you unlock a free TV licence once you're over 75, worth £174.50 a year. The warm home discount, worth £150. Council tax reduction, help with NHS dental and optical costs, cold weather payments, and cheaper broadband and water on top. According to the DWP's own figures, around 880,000 to 910,000 households who are entitled to pension credit simply do not claim it, leaving up to £2.5 billion unclaimed every year. The average non-claimant is missing roughly £2,600 a year before you even count the extras. Take-up has actually fallen, down to 62% of those eligible. Say that back to yourself. Nearly 4 in 10 of the poorest pensioners in the country are not getting the top-up that Parliament voted them, because they assumed they earned too much, or the form looked daunting, or nobody ever told them their savings do not automatically rule them out. For Margaret and Ron, sitting just over the line on paper, this is the door everything else opens behind, and we will come back to it, because there is a twist here that even some advisors get wrong. Number 2, council tax reduction. The biggest local pot nobody mentions. Here is how it works. Every council in Britain runs its own scheme to cut the council tax bill for people on low incomes, and it is enormous. Of that £24 billion, council tax support alone accounts for £3.3 billion going unclaimed. But there is more, and this is the bit that catches everyone. If you live alone, you're entitled to a 25% single-person discount. Full stop. No means test. And there is a discount almost nobody has heard of called the severe mental impairment disregard. If someone in the home has a condition that severely affects their mental functioning, dementia, or in some cases Parkinson's or the after effects of a stroke, and a doctor signs a short certificate, that person can be treated as if they are not there for council tax purposes. For a couple, that can mean a quarter off the bill. For someone living alone, it can mean the whole bill wiped. And here is the sting. Many councils will backdate it, sometimes for years, but only if you ask. They will not volunteer it. For Margaret and Ron, with Ron's diagnosis and a doctor's letter, that could be a quarter off their council tax indefinitely, plus a backdated refund for the years already gone. That is not a fiddle. That is money they were legally owed and never claimed. Did you know that a benefit which completely ignores your income and your savings can, on its own, unlock a means-tested top-up worth thousands more? Type yes or no in the comments. Most people have no idea the two things are even connected, and it is about to become the whole point of this video. Number 3, attendance allowance, the one people talk themselves out of. Here is how it works. Attendance allowance is paid by the DWP to people over state pension age who need help or supervision because of a physical or mental health condition. And this is the crucial part that stops so many from claiming it is not means tested. Your income does not matter. Your savings do not matter. Whether you own a mansion or rent a flat does not matter. You do not even need to have a carer or live with anyone. The test is simply whether you struggle. In 2026 to 2027, it pays £76.70 a week at the lower rate, or £114.60 a week at the higher rate tax-free. The higher rate is £5,959.20 a year. Around 1.7 million people claim it, and an estimated 1 million more are eligible and have never applied, almost always because they wrongly assume they are too comfortable to qualify. They are not. Ron needs help day and night, so he qualifies for the higher rate, £114.60 a week, £5,959.20 a year, landing in their account regardless of that works pension they were so worried about. Say it again, nearly £6,000 a year tax-free that they had written off because of a means test that does not exist. We are only 3 claims in, and look at what has already stacked up for one ordinary couple. Nearly £6,000 a year from attendance allowance, a quarter off the council tax backdated, and the pension credit door now standing wide open. We have not even reached the cleverest part yet, and Margaret and Ron are already thousands better off than they were 10 minutes ago. Still living in the same house, still having done nothing but ask. Number 4, carer's allowance, and the cruelest cliff edge in the system. Here is how it works. If you care for someone for at least 35 hours a week, and the person you care for gets a qualifying disability benefit like attendance allowance, you can claim carer's allowance. £86.45 a week in 2026 to 2027, about £4,495 a year. Of the £24 billion, unclaimed carers allowance makes up £2.4 billion on its own. But watch the trap. There is an earnings limit of £204 a week after deductions, and it is a cliff, not a slope. Earn £204 and you keep the lot. Earn £205, a single pound over, and you lose the entire week's payment. Not the pound, the whole £86.45. That is the kind of rule that only survives because most people never find it. Now Margaret is over state pension age, and here is where it gets sharp. Because carer's allowance overlaps with the state pension, she cannot usually be paid both in full. So a lot of carers in her position give up and never claim. That is the mistake. Because even when nothing is paid out, having the underlying entitlement to carer's allowance adds a carer addition worth around £48.15 a week to a pension credit calculation, which, you will notice, is the very door we propped open back at number 1. Number 5. Marriage allowance, the free money. HMRC will let you leave on the table for years. Now this one is for a slightly different household, so if you're still working with a husband, wife or civil partner who is not, or who earns very little, this is aimed squarely at you. Here is how it works. If one of you earns under the £12,570 personal allowance and the other is a basic rate taxpayer, the lower earner can transfer £1,260 of their tax-free allowance across, cutting the couple's tax bill by up to £252 a year. That does not sound like much until you hear the next bit. You can backdate the claim up to 4 tax years, which means a couple claiming for the first time can pick up a lump sum of around £1,008 for the years gone by, plus the £252 saving going forward. HMRC estimates around 2.1 million eligible couples have never claimed it, and you can still claim even if your husband or wife has since died, as long as you qualified while they were alive. One warning, and I mean this: apply directly and free through gov.uk. Do not use one of those copycat agencies that pockets a slice of your refund for filling in a form that takes you 10 minutes yourself. That is your money, not theirs. Number 6. Social tariffs, the everyday discounts with the largest number of people missing out of all. Here is how it works. If you are on pension credit, universal credit or certain other benefits, you are almost certainly entitled to a social tariff, a cut-price version of your broadband and a discount on your water bill, delivered exactly like a normal package, just cheaper. On broadband, Which found that around 4.2 million households are eligible and the average savings over £250 a year. Yet the National Audit Office found only about a third of eligible customers even know these tariffs exist. BT, Virgin Media, Sky and others all run them, some starting around £12.50 a month. On water, the Watershore scheme caps bills for people on benefits with high essential use, and every water company also runs a local social tariff that can knock between 25 and 50% off the bill depending on your income. For Margaret and Ron, once they're on pension credit, that is a couple of £100 a year on broadband, and potentially half off their water. Support they were eligible for all along and were simply never pointed towards. Now let me show you the part that changes everything. The mechanism even some professionals miss. These claims do not add up, they multiply. Watch. Ron claims attendance allowance, a benefit that ignores income entirely, and it does two things at once. It pays him nearly £6,000 a year, and it changes the pension credit sum, because attendance allowance is ignored as income but triggers a severe disability addition, and Margaret's underlying carer entitlement adds a carer addition on top. That combination can lift a couple who are just over the line clean into pension credit. And the moment they are on pension credit, the gateway swings open. Council tax reduction, the free TV licence at £75, the £150 warm home discount, the social tariffs on broadband and water, help with health costs. One claim, made because they finally stopped assuming they earned too much, cascades into 5 or 6 more, each one unlocking the next like a row of dominoes. Financial advisors price your pension and your investments all day long, but a surprising number never map this cascade, because it sits across 3 different departments that do not talk to each other. That is the design, and it runs both ways, which is exactly why missing one claim quietly cost you 5. Now to be fair, because I promised you the honest version, not everyone who watches this will be entitled to everything, or to the maximum of anything. The means tests are real, and if your income is genuinely comfortable, some of these will not apply to you. Attendance allowance turns down around 6 in 10 first-time applicants, usually not because the person does not qualify, but because the form is filled in describing a good day instead of a bad one, so how you complete it genuinely matters. And social tariff funding at some water companies is limited, so it pays to apply early rather than late. None of that dissolves the core point. The core point is that £24 billion is sitting unclaimed, and almost nobody checks before they simply assume the answer is no. So let me add up what one ordinary, careful couple was walking past. Attendance allowance at the higher rate, £5,959 a year. Council tax reduction plus the severe mental impairment discount, comfortably over £500 a year before any backdating. Pension credit, once unlocked by the disability and carer additions, often £2,000 to £3,000 a year in their own bracket. The free TV licence at £75, £174.50. The warm home discount £150. Social tariffs on broadband and water, perhaps £400 combined. Put the running total together and Margaret and Ron, who own their home, who have that little works pension, who are absolutely certain they were not the sort of people who claim, were missing somewhere in the region of £9,000 to £10,000 a year. Age UK's own advice service reports that the average person it helps discovers around £5,900 in support they never knew they could get. This is not a rare edge case. This is the middle of ordinary British life. Here is the uncomfortable truth sitting underneath all £24 billion of it. The system is not broken. It is working exactly as it was designed to work. Nobody's job, anywhere in that machine, depends on making sure you keep your money. The council does not employ someone to ring you about a discount. HMRC does not send a van round with your backdated refund. The money that goes unclaimed does not get set aside for you with interest. It simply stays where it is, and the gap grows because 4 years ago this figure was £15 billion and now it is £24 billion. The responsibility to find it falls on exactly one person, you. The people who accept that quietly keep thousands more every year than the ones who wait politely to be told. So here is what to do this week, and none of it costs a penny. 1. Run a free benefits calculator. Turn to us, entitled to, or the checker on gov.uk, which tells you exactly what you're missing. 2. Check pension credit even if you are convinced you earn too much, because that assumption is the single most expensive mistake in this whole video. Call the free line on 0800 99 1234. 3. If you or someone you love struggles with daily tasks, get the attendance allowance form, the AA one, and fill it in describing your worst day, not your best. 4. Ring your council about council tax reduction and the severe mental impairment discount and ask them to backdate it. 5. If you are married and one of you is a non-taxpayer, claim marriage allowance free on gov.uk. And 6. Ask your broadband and water providers by name for their social tariff. If you have been missing out for years, backdating can recover a chunk of it, but only from the moment you finally ask. And if you would rather have all of it in one place, I have put every link, every phone number and a free step-by-step claim checklist in the description below. It does not replace proper advice. It just means you walk in prepared. And before you scroll on, one last thing, because it does not fit on any spreadsheet. Behind every one of those 7 million households is a real person rationing the heating in February, or quietly turning down a grandchild's day out, or lying awake over a water bill they cannot make sense of, while the exact money that would have fixed it sat unclaimed the whole time. The cost of not asking was never only financial. It was the holiday never taken, the meal skipped, the pride that bought them nothing but a colder winter. That is the true price of a system built to wait until it is asked. So, which of these 6 surprised you most? Drop the number in the comments. 1 for pension credit, 2 for council tax, 3 for attendance allowance, 4 for carers allowance, 5 for marriage allowance, 6 for social tariffs. The most common answer becomes next week's deep dive, so your vote genuinely decides. Hit like, subscribe if you have not already, and then do the one thing that actually matters here. Send this to one person you know who is skint or proud or over 70 and quietly convinced they are not the sort of people who claim. They're exactly the sort, they just were never handed the map, Now you can be the one who finally hands it to them.